Tell me your names and when you came here, please.
I'm June Melvin, Mrs. William and Melvin, and my husband brought me to Fair Oaks in December of 1947.
And Gail.
I'm Gail Anita, and I'm basically a newcomer here. I've only been here for 22 years. I came here in 1970.
June, what drew you and Bill here?
Well, I think Bill drew me here. He said it was a lovely new territory, and it was just a year after World War II. He was quite an athlete and outdoorsman most of his life. So it really wasn't the business, because when we came, there was very little business. He started to sell real estate here in the beginning, and that took in Fair Oaks, Orangevale, Citrus Heights, Carmichael. There was no Rancho Cordova, a development at that time, just a few farm homes and a station called Mills. And being from San Francisco and a coastal town, Santa Cruz, I was accustomed to rolling hills and trees, lots and lots of trees. So this was so beautiful to me, and the location being midway between the mountains and the Bay Area seemed just sort of ideal. But as I said, because it was so soon after the war, and there was no building going on during the war, all materials had to go to defense, you know, in the war. So the only sales that took place were property resales, and not very many people were leaving Fair Oaks at that time, and frankly, I didn't blame them.
And Gail, you're is the self-described kind of new kid on the block. What drew you here?
Well, I was looking for a place to live, and I didn't want to live downtown, and I really wanted a more rural setting. And so I was sort of driving around the Fair Oaks area, and I saw this little house that looked like an artist could afford that. And since I was an artist, as it turned out, one day I came back there, and now that's where I'm living in that house.
So from the very beginning. June, what makes Fair Oaks for you? What makes it the community that it is?
What makes it different?
What makes it the community that it is? It makes it special.
Makes it special? Well, there's several factors, and I guess the factors that have an effect upon the people, and in effect, it's really the people who decide to stay here, that makes it so special. The location, the beauty of the landscape, and it is beautiful, the rolling hills, the magnificent oak trees, and they are. The river, full-flowing, clean American river. Not as much now as it was when we first arrived, but there were an abundance of fish and game, wildflowers galore. It was really like a paradise. It's been called paradise. And I've heard people who traveled all around the world, that this was such an ideal climate, close to being nearly perfect as any climate in the western United States.
Mm-hmm. And Gail, you live near the river.
Yes,
what makes it special for you here?
Well, the river itself makes it special because I don't think I could ever live away from that river at this point anyway, because the river's taught me so much, and it's beautiful. And since I'm an artist, I like to spend a lot of time down there. And not only that, but the river animals come up to my house and visit me too, and so that's kind of they do, really. And so that's a double pleasure. And yes, the river plays a big part in my life, and I hope it always will.
How has it changed in your 22 years?
Well, it has changed. There's been so much development around the river that the animals are, I would say, a little bit confused. They've been moved out of some areas, and there's a lot of stress on the animals around the river, I believe. And I think that's why we see more and more of them in our yards, because they are stressed. And also the fish. I know the fishing used to be fabulous when I first moved here 22 years ago. And it's not quite so fabulous now, and I know the salmon are having a great deal of trouble, and other species of fish also. So it has changed.
June, you have a 45-year perspective. How does it look to you? How has it changed? What major things come to your mind?
Bob, when we first arrived, the area, there was more open land, of course, then, with the business district confined to downtown Fair Oaks, the village. Today, there are new shopping centers in the corners and all around, from San Juan Avenue, clear out to Hazel. And, of course, that's all commercial development and growth. The land has filled in with homes. There are more schools, of course, many more people now, more churches, and of course the big boulevard that sort of, well, it bisects the terrain. I'm speaking of Sunrise Boulevard, but it hasn't bisected our Fair Oaks. That is, the people. Our hearts are still combined, and we still are a very close community.
Now, I understand you had something to do with the naming of that.